So how was that to see your entire career before your eyes in 8 or 10 minutes?
I frankly believe that all the experience that you and also your voice has over the years in the French and in the Italian repertory is something that can also help and maybe increase the interpretation varieties that you have for the Wagnerian repertory. I always think, I mean, whenever I sang a new Wagner part, people would say, yes, it's okay, but why must it be so beautiful and so round? And I always said, well, doesn't Wagner deserve the same beauty and sound than all the other composers? Is it only because you're used to that people would focus so much on the text, which is equally important at Wagner, I know, but so much that then ultimately the sound quality and the musical quality is not as perfect as it could be. And even though Wagner was also his own text writer, he defined himself not as an author but as a composer. So he also put focus on the musical side. So therefore, I think this is the most important part. And it's one thing that you have the vocal abilities to sing those different Fachs, as we say. So the French, the Italian, and the German repertory. But there is equally important to me, at least, is that you have a knowledge about the language. Because if you don't know exactly word by word what you are singing, you will never be able to spontaneously interpret your part. You will always be stuck with what a teacher has shown you as one possibility, one solution, meaning stretching the phrase here a little bit, rushing forward there, the stress on this word and then a little bit lighter over there. This is a possibility, but it's not the only possibility. And I would say this is for 99% of all phrases in operatic world, that you can interpret it in different ways. There is a general interpretation done by the composer already, because he had shown you, he had put the orchestra there, which limits you in volume-wise a little bit, and the height, if it's a low or a high phrase, that also can be tough to interpret in many different ways. But other than that, there's an endless supply of ideas and thoughts that you might have. And I mentioned to you before in the car, I think each time I'm singing a part, even if I've done it many, many times, I try to do kind of a reset, and I start from the very beginning. And I let myself be driven away into this character. And sometimes you come up with a different solution. Sometimes your feelings are different than they've been in the 5-6 shows beforehand, and then you just have to go for it. That doesn't mean that you totally freak out and do things that your partners are not d'accord, but it's for yourself, for your phrasing, for your filling up the music with emotions, which I think is very important. I've, over the years, realized that a beautiful piano can have a much bigger impact emotionally than any forte can ever have.
Yeah.
So I was working very much on that, but without the help of Michael Rhodes, of this teacher, it would have been impossible, because I wasn't able of this control over my voice. And if you want to put it in simple phrases, he taught me how to trust my instrument, trust so much that he always said, if they wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning, sing a high C, you just have to not think about it. Oh God, is it really? Just open your mouth and do it. That's what it should be. And if you have that status also psychologically, then you can relax your body. You can concentrate, well, first, through relaxation, there is increase in volume. It's actually the opposite of what people believe, so it's not more power means more volume. And it's logical because your rib cage is trying to amplify your voice, and if the muscles are stiff, it cannot vibrate the same way that it would if it's just relaxed. And then the next step after that is playing around with the breathing, with the diaphragm, which then is also relaxed. And the diaphragm is actually what leads the voice all the time, and what also does the piano and the forte. And if you have all that, the ideal situation then is you don't think about singing at all. You think about the text, you think about the situation, you think about the interpretation of, not even the interpretation, because the interpretation is something that comes on its own. It's like an actor that would never think of how I'm going to place this phrase now. Let me think, I'm going to make it a little bit darker, and then I probably going to sound a bit. They don't do that. They spontaneously do open their mouth and say what they have to say in the character. And since the character feels weak, feels strong, feels happy, feels sad, feels excited, whatever it is, your voice sounds the same. Because that's what we do. That's something that the trick works with everybody.